Master Grade Armed Armor DE. Hey, what's up again, everybody? It's Robert184, 2Rs, 2Bs, Gundam.tk, and the millions of variations of the Banshees and Unicorns out there continues with the version KA add-on for the Master Grade here, Shield Booster. Armed Armor DE is its long full title. Basically, it's a big shield add-on. You've already seen the unbox and some comments on that, but now it's time to see what the plastic is going to be like when it's all put together. When complete, here's the A and the B parts, basically going to make up the top and the bottom here. They're not folded out, and if you took a look at the earlier part, you saw that there was a part that is going to be very easily omittable here in the future, because basically these are add-on pieces that you can use for the Shinonju Stein and the new Gundam that are going to have nothing to do with the Unicorn proper. So here's the top part, and I've gone in there with a little bit of black lining, but you'll notice that you're not going to be seeing any of the Psycho frame there, including on the underside, which is fairly impressive, unlike the regular Unicorn shield. Up at the top, you're going to have a blaster cannon there, nothing to do with the actual booster itself. But for the gimmicks, well, what are you going to get? If you open it up, you're going to get some wrong-colored pink there. Open it up here, and then for the lower part, it's going to be a little bit tricky here. You just got to make sure that you move everything out. And when you do that there, you're going to be exposing some pink there up against the white. Overall, the effect on the top is going to be very impressive because even if this is a little bit light, it is going to have a backdrop there. The part that's going to go against my black backdrop here is going to get a little bit lost, but overall, that's an impressive top of a shield there. And the bottom is going to be even more fun here. First of all, if you wanted to go and paint this up with gray, you could definitely add some details. You can also do some of that in the top, but for the underside here, you are going to see some Psycho frame and some less than impressive parts. You know that the pro modelers for Hobby Japan and Dengeki Hobby are going to be filling those in quite shortly for their magazine reviews. And if you want to see this one, though, it's got a neat two-step deployment as, well, this one didn't work. But if you open it up this way, you'll notice that it's going to leave the pink part behind. And then when you swing it out there, you can get this up here at a 90-degree angle. It's going to get totally lost, though, when it's not up against the white part there. But overall, it's going to be interesting to see how it works when you put it on together. They do point out on the packaging that you're not going to be getting the actual Unicorn shield here when you purchase this. So you're going to have one on your own. Otherwise, I'm assuming you wouldn't be going out and buying this. But it's got a neat trick here. What you're going to do is you've got this white part up here, which you can just dislodge. And then when you do that, you take the top of the shield and you're going to plug that in here and then seal it back up like this. And for the lower part there, you'll notice that you've got that cool looking circle with a triangle around there, and this part is going to be fitted quite nicely for it. So you'll just go and you'll attach this onto the top. I never really realized how much of the original shield is going to be exposed down to the bottom, but it adds to the overall sword-like feel. Now, properly closed up here, this is next to the HGUC. It just gives you an idea of the height. This is going to be a monster, even when you attach it on to the proper size for the Master Grade. And the looks, I'd say, even here for the Unicorn mode, is going to be pretty good. No Psycho frame that you're going to be seeing from the front. You do have the blaster. If you want to go add some gray touches there, you can do it up properly. And from the underside there, even though you would have seen some of those pink parts there, as you saw for the bottom, it's going to be covered up by the pink parts that are naturally going to be exposed from the Unicorn shield. And longtime viewers of my site know that I'm not a fan of transforming this Master Grade Unicorn Gundam here. But when you put this on, first of all, I'm impressed. It rotated once, so in terms of weight issues, but if you run it straight up and down vertical there, even in its Unicorn mode, it's going to be looking okay. The fact that you see that pink there on the inside is an issue that goes back to the very debut of the original Master Grade here, but it's going to look like a very funky surfboard over there with some decent details that could be great up for even more. However, on the minute you try to move it, remember it's very easy to dislodge the actual attachment points, so be careful, like with anything you do with this Master Grade Unicorn. And when you open it all up here, you can see that even though the height isn't going to be changing because you're not doing anything at all with the bottom there, besides swinging these parts up and opening up the tops, but its width is absolutely going to become monstrous there, bigger than a high-grade kit for sure, and definitely got a lot of details compared to the HGUC. Well, at least the one that's been released so far. And attached onto the Master Grade full saber has nothing on this one, it seems. When it's at the back, it seems a little bit reasonable, but when you look at it on the inside, it's going to have some of the wrong colors. But when you see the pink parts here displayed, they're going to look really good when they're up against the white. However, you do have to be very careful of it, because in terms of posability, well, you can run it straight up and down, but if you want to try to pull off a dynamic pose First of all, with this brick of a kit, it's going to be an issue in the first place, but pretty much I was able to rotate it this far forward, and if you try to go any more, you can imagine that it's just going to want to go toppling due to weight issues, and fiddling with the forearm is not going to do much because it's just going to detach the actual armor itself. The biggest complaint, though, is that it is going to be that the pink parts here, as you see them here, are going to be coming across as very light. The ones down below just get totally lost, and when you compare it to the rich pink/red on the inside of the body, it's definitely a shame that it's not the right color. But though the colors may not be right, in terms of just sheer visual oomph, he's definitely got a whole lot of extra. And remember that this is an MS that is already used to getting a whole bunch of extra. Definitely pretty cool looking. Now it is sort of interesting that they're going to be focused on the fact that you can add it to the new Gundam, the Full Armor Unicorn Gundam, and the Shinenju Stein, but they're not going to be talking about the Banshee, who actually we got to see it animated in episode 6. We've already got the HGUC, but for those of you that have bought the Master Grade Banshee, please don't follow Bandai's X's blindly there. They're going to tell you to go and throw out this shield because you're not going to be using it as you add on the armed armor over there, and it's not going to work out. However, if you want to go, and when you're building this up, just don't attach these ones. You could also just pop on this shield, paint this up in blue or black, and if you wanted to go gold on that inside, I think it would look spectacular when you add it on here, or just wait for its inevitable release as another Master Grade in the future. Now, if you want to utilize all of it, and you've got some other Master Grade new models from Katoki Hajime kicking around, you can take off the Shinenju Stein's shield over here. They're going to be giving you this custom mount point, and then you're going to notice that when you put it together, you're going to be doing it in a way that what was the top for the Unicorn is now going to be the bottom for the Stein. And the top's going to go in the opposite direction there, as you're going to take it and slide it down, thanks to this attachment point here, which is going to be on the 4th plate. And you can see that the pink is going to be well hidden, so let's see what this upside down version of the DE is going to look like. And here it is when it's all put together here. Remember that this side is down. You're just going to have a little bit of the labels sticking out there from the top. And at first, it didn't feel like it was going to connect on very well down here at the bottom. But once you add on the bottom and the top, you're going to get a satisfying punch sound there. And then when you attach it on... And when you attach it on to the Stein for something that could just be a gimmick, I've got to say that I'm actually impressed with the way that it goes on here. When it's all folded up in its white unicorn mode, it's actually going to be a little bit more fitting. However, you are going to have to be a little bit careful here, because when you try to put it on, if you try to do anything too fancy in terms of turning or just do anything like that, you can see that it is going to want to detach itself. But overall, the all-white design is going to work well with this all-white Shinenju. And when it's open up there, you can see the pink parts there as it's going to be spinning around. And this one, I've got to say, of course the color is going to be wrong when you're exposing the Psycho frame here. But nonetheless, seeing it this way, if I stop right here, these pink parts here that are up against nothing in terms of backdrop are not going to be standing out as much as these pink ones here that are going to have some nice white built in right underneath them. So they're going to be looking solid. But here, because it's going to have that little bit of white and blue as a backdrop, he's going to be looking pretty cool. But if you want to go big guns here and forget about the green Psycho frame, the 2 on the shield, yes, I suppose you could go buy 3 of these and play with it. However, these shields are going to be slightly different constructions, so you're going to have to be careful. But let's see what you can do with this one. And of course, if you've got one of these pink ones, you can just always put this one on instead. So just to show you what the ugly green is going to look like here, you've got this custom attachment point, which you can use this shield attachment, and then add on the pink Psycho frame in white. And as if this guy didn't have enough weapons of his own, from the front you're just going to see a whole bunch more white there exposed on the top, and you're not going to see any of the green as it's going to be folded up there. But from the back, it looks like he's got a rocket ship slash sword slash super booster there. And it adds to the already impressiveness of an already fully loaded Full Armor Unicorn Gundam. This one is actually surprisingly a lot of fun, and it still gives you that touch of pink there to remember what color he was before he went all peaceful and green. And now, back on the guy that brought him to the ball here, I've got to say, let's kick things off with just a few negatives. First of all, it is going to be disappointing. I was hoping that when I read through this Volume 8 of Bande Dessinee, it would be great. We've already seen the Armed Armor DE on the Norn in the anime, so now actually this is a chance to see it on the White Unicorn, and it never happens. Now, of course, it may happen in Issue 9, or anybody who's reading Gundam Ace, please let me know if it does actually show up there. But in terms of the other negatives, first of all, the first thing you're going to associate it with is the Banshee. So they're giving it to you in white and red, which is of course probably going to get it more sales. But at the same time, you'd think that a Banshee 1 would be a little bit more appropriate. And there's always people who don't like getting colored clear parts. They'd rather have just plain clear. So if you want to paint it up clear orange to go for Banshee, or the actual right clear pink here for Unicorn, you could go ahead and do that. And it's just disappointing, of course, that they did the wrong colors. In terms of weight issues, you're going to have to be careful. This guy's a brick. His forearm is hardly going to work or move at all. And when you do, it's just going to collapse anyway. But at the same time, you're not going to have too many play options. And the weight issues, well, they're less than you'd expect. But if you can handle this brick just standing there with even more of a brick attached onto his left arm, you know that there's tons of positives because A, I love this packaging. It's just simple, cool, and it makes you want to have all the add-ons to go along with the version KA. The manga, yeah, you're just getting a fun read out of it, and you're getting 2 full plates there, definitely a plus. The fact that you're getting 2 colors is the kind of thing for add-ons we never would have got in the past. And when you look at the different play options there, it's going to look good in Unicorn mode, it's going to look great here in Destroy mode, and then you're going to get a whole bunch of parts. It looks great on the Stein, it's going to look good on the new, even though the new is going to have the exact same design as the Stein. In other words, upside down. Pop it on the full armor, and that's way more fun than I expected. So it's going to look great, and it's the kind of thing that if you buy a Master Grade Banshee Norn in the future, you can't wait, because having put it together here once is only going to make me want to put it together and have it properly on display, and maybe even just throw on a coat of clear pink or clear red there, just to get the colors to add up. And this would be near perfect. Anyway, everybody, that's just my thoughts. I'd love to hear yours with a comment down below. Is it worth picking up? Is it worth painting? Or is it worth waiting for? Anyway, everybody, stick around for lots more news, reviews, and everything else you can use. Thanks for watching. See ya. Oh, man. That looks so cool. Well, you can't borrow mine. You can borrow Banshees in the future.